Hi everyone, welcome to the session on Cs22071 Agile Methodology presented by R. Samundi, Assistant Professor of Computer Science and Engineering. Today we are going to see the topic as overview of requirements engineering using the Agile. So from the Unit 4 Agility and Requirements Engineering. So in this session, we will explore how Agile methodology has transformed requirements engineering or RE into the more flexible and continuous process. So traditional requirement engineering focused on fixed documentation and early planning, but Agile introduced a more dynamic approach, one that emphasizes collaboration, adaptability, and delivering the value over paperwork. Throughout this presentation, we will understand how Agile integrates and requirement engineering principles through five major activities, that is elicitation, analysis, modeling, prioritization, and management. Let's begin with the overview of requirement engineering using Agile. Requirement engineering is a structured way of identifying, analyzing, and maintaining what the system should do. In traditional method, requirement engineering follow a rigid step-by-step process. Requirements were gathered once and rarely changed, but in Agile, requirement engineering is iterative and collaborative. So, requirements are evolved continuously with stakeholder feedback, teams and customer work together to refine needs as the project move forward. The focus is not just on documentation, it's on delivering the working solutions that adapt as the user expectations grow. In next slide, we are going to see the how the Agile requirements engineering cycle. Number one is the elicitations. Elicitations means gather the requirements through the collaborations. And next one is the analysis, discuss and clarify the stories. And third one is modeling, create a visual representation of the all the requirements and the user stories. And then fourth one is the validation, validate the evolving requirements. And the last one is the management, track the requirements using the Agile tools. In next slide, we will see the introduction to requirements engineering. So, requirement engineering is the structured process of identifying and maintaining the system requirements. Traditional requirement engineering follows here fixed stages. That means if the requirements changes means they won't change. So that is the in traditional requirement engineering follows, often limiting the flexibility. It is not a dynamic, it is a very highly rigid when comparing with the traditional requirement engineering. But in the case of Agile requirement engineering introduce the adaptability through the continuous requirement updates. So if the customer needs their different specification features means, so based on that the requirements is again it will keep on updated and change. So stakeholders collaborate constantly with the team to refine the needs. So if any new ideas will come for the stakeholders means she will collaborate constantly with the team to get the exactly what the product they need. So here the goal is to delivering the solution that evolve with the user feedback. It is totally based on the user feedback only the agile is going to work. In the next slide, we'll see the agile and requirement engineering integration. So, agile embeds requirement engineering as a continuous feedback driven process. So that means, so based on the user requirements only, all the features can be added or everything can be enhanced. So it is overall, it is a continuous feedback driven process. User stories and epics replace the detailed requirement documents. If the users given the specific requirements, based on that only we can get the detailed requirement documents. The product owners and teams collaborate actively for value delivery. So iteration helps refine needs based on the sprint reviews and retrospective. The approaches promotes the transparency, adaptability and fast feedback. In next slide, we will see the key requirement engineering activities in a agile. Here already we know that requirement engineering activities are 5 steps, that is the elicitation, analysis, modeling, prioritization and management. Number 1, elicitation, the continuous discovery of stakeholders' needs. So here we have to gather what are the required things or updated things of the stakeholders. And next one is the analysis, refinement and clarifications of user stories. We have to analyze all the requirements of the user and we have to update and we have to adapt to any new changes if the users are set. And next one is modeling, visualization of user flow and behavior. So we have to make the requirements as the visualization like a bar chart, like that we have to put it and we have to see what is the user flow, what are their behavior, then only we can come into the one conclusions. And next one is the prioritization. So based on the visualization we have to rank the requirements by business value and effort. And last one is the management. So tracking and maintaining the evolving requirements. So we have to track and maintain the requirements in the requirement engineering. Here the first step of the requirement engineering is the elicitation in agile requirement engineering. So elicitation is an iterative discovery of stakeholder needs throughout the sprints. It uses interviews, workshops and story mapping to gather the insights. Already we know the elicitations is nothing but gathering the requirements for the agile. So it elicitations identifies both the explicit and hidden user needs. So both the needs can be identified in the phase of elicitations, and the elicitation will give the collaboration between the developers and business users is a key, and documentations remains a lightweight using the user stories and acceptance criteria. So the user story can be based on the daily stand-ups, sprints review, and face-to-face collaborations and speak with the users. We can get the stories and we can easily make the documentations. And next phase is analysis in the agile requirements engineering. Analysis breaks stories into clear, testable acceptance criteria, and the analysis will give the refinement session to ensure the feasibility and shared understanding, and it also identify the dependency and risk early in the process. So analysis give the collaborations, ensures the requirements align with the technical constraints. So overall the output of the analysis refined backlog items ready for the implementation. Next slide we are seeing the modeling in agile requirement engineering. So this is the another phase of requirement engineering. So modeling is nothing but visually represents the workflows and the system behavior. Here the common types of wireframes, use case diagrams, and the user journey. Here, modeling in Agile prefers the lightweight, flexible models over the complex diagrams. Early validations of models reduces the design and development errors. In modeling, the tools like Figma, Miro, and Lucid Chart enables the collaborative modeling. In next slide, we are going through the prioritization in Agile requirement engineering. Prioritization focus on delivering the most valuable features first. So it always gives the important to the important features. Maslow and WSJF methods rank the stories by impact and urgency. So using those methods, the Maslow and WSJF, it will give the important to the important requirements and urgency of the user stories or user requirements. So the product owners continuously adjust the priorities during the sprint planning. In the prioritization, the stakeholders collaborate to balance the business goals and team capacity. And last, the regular feedback helps keep the backlog aligned with the market needs. In next one is the requirement management in agile requirements engineering. So whatever we have to manage, no, that is the requirement management. So management involves tracking and updating the requirements across the sprints. Here we are using the tools like Jira, Trello, and Azure boards supports the collaborations, but these tools can be used for the bigger teams, and very big teams can be used. It ensures the traceability and scope control through the version management. It maintains the visibility of the progress and evolving requirements. So the management, requirement management keeps the team focused on delivering the incremental value. So in overall, requirement engineering in Agile is a flexible, collaborative, and evolving discipline. So continuous feedback ensures the alignment with stakeholder needs. Here, the core activities of the requirement engineering is elicitation, analysis, modeling, prioritization, and management. So, agile requirement engineering promotes adaptability and customer satisfaction. Here, the goal is to deliver the working software that evolves with the changing business goal. So thank you for the session and your attention. I hope this presentation gave you a clear understanding of how Agile integrates in a requirement engineering, it turning into the continuous feedback driven process that keeps project flexible and customer oriented.